Well, looky here. I think he's just a mud snake. Yeah, he's not opening his mouth like a cottonmouth anyway. Kind of flattened out his body. Oh yeah, he's just an old fat mud snake. Look at him running off. He looks like a cottonmouth with that fat body, but he wasn't rearing back like he wanted to threaten me like a cottonmouth. I'll leave him alone. No telling how many of them I stepped over walking back here when I was staring at my phone for the map and not paying attention, or when I was talking to y'all like I'm doing again. But he didn't exactly move when I walked up on him until I poked him with a stick. All right, snake fun. So I'm doing a little scouting and scouring here for my next big scheme that I'm still working on. But I think, based on the numbers that I've run, I would like to try to raise some pigs. I haven't tested the market yet, so I've got to try to figure all that out. I got a plan that I can't give away my whole idea to you guys just yet. But it seems counterintuitive, right? I mean, what you're looking at is the damage that wild pigs have done coming through here. But so people would say, well, why would you raise wild hogs when you can just go shoot one anytime you want? Well, because there's this stigma, seems to be this stigma, that people don't want to eat wild pig. They think there's something wrong with it. And it's kind of hard to source the wild pig, because yeah, you can trap them and you can catch them. Now I'm speaking from inexperience here. I know there's people out there that do it all the time. You can trap them, you can catch them, but then you got to try to deal with those wild crazy things and get them, you know, fattened up on corn. I think I would just as soon buy piglets, you know, from a docile domesticated breed, and not have to deal with them being edgy. Of course, a domesticated hog can get edgy too, but I have reasons for why I want to do what I want to do. Certainly, if you're not sure and you still have your own advice, put it in the comments. I'm happy to consider it, because I want to do this right. Anyway, you know, I would look at the way I'm looking at it is the time that I would put into trapping and the risk of trapping and the uncertainty of trapping. All that time and effort could be, you know, could cost you more than just going and buying piglets from a breeder. That's my thought anyway. But my plan is to run them back here in the woods, because obviously pigs like it back here. So I would put up, I'm planning basically a double run, do the perimeter in electric hot wire, and then come in from that a couple of feet so that the animals can't actually touch. Somebody mentioned something about, you know, disease being transferred from the wild hogs to your domestic ones if they can contact each other. So okay, fine, I'll put up a double perimeter. But I'm planning on doing it all under hot wire. That's my hope anyway. I know that sounds crazy, but there's no way that I can come fence this. This would be almost a mile of fence to fence my perimeter. There's no way I can do that cost effectively and still think I'll make money raising pigs. So it's going to have to be a hot wire for this to work. Anyway, I'm coming back here scouting because I have basically 20 acres on the back of my property. This orange flag is my south property line. 20 acres on the back of my property that, as of right now, I don't use it for anything. It's got timber on it, obviously, lots of timber, pine stand, and it's all timber exempted. So that's fine by me to leave it in timber, and it will stay in timber. It'll just be timber that's got pigs running through it. So for the sake of the county tax appraisal, I guess I'll have to tell them that I'm raising pigs versus raising timber, and they're probably going to say, well, ain't neither one of them makes you any money. So the taxes will likely stay the same, maybe even go less. I've had some people tell me that ag exemption is even less than timber exemption, which timber is worth so little right now. I don't know how you can go any lower than that. So yeah, taxes won't be an issue. Nothing will probably change there. Heck, they might even tell me if I'm leaving it in timber that they'll just leave it as a timber exemption, even though they know. But I don't want to risk getting in trouble, so I will notify them that my plans are altering. But you know, the point is, with the forest raised pork, what I'm looking at here is there's not a lot back here for them, which pigs aren't really grazers. I know you can get the coonies and the different pasture type of pigs, but you know, they'll come through and they'll work on this grass and stuff, but really they just want to eat corn and get fat. And I'm fine with feeding them corn on that premise, because I think, and again, this is based on the numbers that I've run, I can afford to feed them and fatten them and still turn a profit. Of course, it all just depends on the sale price, right? Which that's up to me to find the market. So, you know, I've got plans, and they're not original. There's plenty of other people out there that are doing what I want to do. Man, I lost my flags. I've got to figure out where the rest of my property line is. All right, well, I won't bore you guys with talking, but just figured I'd kind of give you this little sneak peek on what I'm wanting to do as far as raising pigs. I still got to get the wife totally on board, but I think she's getting there. I think she's getting there. All I got to do is try it and prove to her. Oh, the other thing I was going to say was they will be rotated. So, you know, her concern, as is the concern of most people, is, oh, gross, pigs. Those are going to stink and be terrible. But, again, what you're walking through, what you're seeing back here, which this hasn't even been turned over, but what you saw up front where it was rooted up, that's going to be as compact as, or not as compact, but as dense as you're going to see it. I'll rotate the pigs, you know, quite frequently so that there won't ever be that concentration of manure. That's the plan. So as I explained to my wife, you can walk back here in the woods anytime and you don't smell pigs because they come through, they root around a little bit, and they move on. And that's basically what I'm going to ask my domestic pigs to do the same. Yes, I'm going to feed them, so there'll be concentration at the feeder, but you'll constantly be moving the feeder as well. So yeah, the whole point is no concentrated manure, no smell. It's just like moving chicken tractors every day, just like rotational grazing on cattle or sheep or anything else. Keep them moving so you don't get that concentration of manure and waste, and it shouldn't be a filthy, nasty mess. All right, so I've reached the back of my property, which is fun because if you look out on satellite view, you can see a clear break in the way that the vegetation changes. So my place here on the right is, of course, from y'all's angle here, there's a lot of undergrowth, but it's all planted pine. And when you get here to the property behind me, you find still some planted pine, but a lot of second growth or third growth, whatever you want to call it, hardwood species coming back in. So this, I don't know if it was cleared from pines and then this has all come back through, or if they thinned the pines, but very few pines actually. I mean, you can see yeah, look at the litter, okay? It goes from all pine needle to primarily deciduous. It's really funny. So there's no fences back here, there's no clear road, although there's a pretty clear break here, like somebody cleared it at some point in time. I think this big pine tree right here with the white spot on it is my property corner, pretty close to my southwest corner. But anyway, I just wanted to walk back here, I guess if nothing else, just to make sure I didn't find anything too alarming. But I kind of wanted to scout it, like I said, to see what it's going to take for me to come through and start putting up any sort of little fence and getting some pigs back here. Like I said, if it's all going to be electric fence for now, probably what I'll be doing is put the electric fence and, you know, work my way back with it, rather than fence the entire thing all at once and then cross fence all at once. Basically just move my fences out as needed, as I need more pasture, you know. So each time I go to move the pigs, I'll just extend it, you know, another 50 feet or whatever, and move them that way. I think that'd be easier because I don't want to run way back here and then have to patrol all this fence all the time when I'm not using it anyway. So anyway, I'm gonna look around a little bit while I'm back here, see if I can't find any indication of a survey flag. I thought there was a corner post or something at least that was set. I thought I'd brought one back here, but I'll have to look and see. I think on the picture that the screenshot that I took, I think I was actually a little south still of my southwest corner, but it's easy walking. This is nice and clean, and hey, look, the pigs have been here. So this is nice and cleared out. Like I said, there's no one ever comes back here. Like there's no road, there's no underbrushing or mowing going on back here. It's just, it was cleared out at some point in the past, enough to clean the property line, I guess. Maybe the loggers did it. Maybe it was a skidder road, you know, I don't know. But the canopy's thick enough that it just has kind of stayed that way. Nothing has really come back up through and started to fill it in and make it brushy. So yeah, let me walk around, explore a little bit, and then I'll head back up to the house. But that's the plan, trying to make a plan for some pigs. So this is a follow-up on the walking out through the woods looking at the idea of putting pigs back here. So I'm standing on my side of the fence. These are my woods, and you can see there's water in here, which part of that's a little milky colored because I've actually been pumping water out of the pond, and I imagine there's a pig walked back here through it already. A wild pig kind of stirred it up. But looking across the fence at my neighbor's place, you know, I grew up poor conventional farmer. I understand it. I'm not saying I support it or I condone it, but this is why my wife doesn't want to get pigs. Because she's afraid that our place will now look like this. He has, in my opinion, far, far too many cattle in this little area. The only place you see any vegetation is where the cattle can't get. Everything else is stomped down to a pulp. He, in effect, has a feedlot. Just a feedlot. He feeds them hay. You see there's a bale of hay back over there. He feeds them hay all year long. He throws corn at them occasionally. I'm not sure if he does that on a regular schedule or not, but he basically is going to the market, buying calves or letting his cows have calves, and then just trying to put weight on them and sell them. And, you know, again, in my inexperienced opinion, other than growing up on a farm where that didn't work, I would argue that still doesn't work. You feel like you make money because you buy a calf for a couple $100 and you sell it for $1,000 or whatever. But when you figure in your time, your labor, your feed cost, your dead loss because of living in just terrible conditions. Now, mind you, it has been rainy lately, but that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't be the exception to say, oh, well, it's been kind of rainy, so their pen is filthy. You should have them in conditions that they can tolerate. You know, you can have a big rainstorm and not be flooded out, swampy, nasty. Now, the difference is, now I'm talking about cattle. The difference is pigs like that. Pigs want that. They want the mud, which is exactly why I have zero ambition to raise cattle right now. It just doesn't make sense to try to run cows through these woods. Even if you only run 1 per 10 acres or whatever, it just doesn't make sense. It's not their good environment. Pigs want it. Pigs love it. Pigs are here. I've been checking my game camera every morning lately. There's a big old boar that shows up every morning about 6 o'clock. And I haven't put corn out in 2 weeks, but he still comes back every day looking for it. I know he lives back here because I always find a solo, you know, just one solo setup of hoof tracks. Those are his. I mean, you see damage back here that looks like a whole pack moved through, but consistently I see that solo set of tracks that are his. I'm almost kind of got attached to him. Never seen him in real life, but kind of attached because I'm like, oh, he's my buddy. He's all back there all by himself, you know. Anyway, yeah, you know, I like my neighbor as a person.
Daddy, look what I found.
I don't care for his practices. They're just not good practices. Now, it does benefit me because I'll come get lots of cow manure because he sets his hay out over there, and I'm not sure where this little rise here. When we walk through the woods back here, there are these natural kind of rises, just a couple feet. I'm not really sure what causes those, if they're, you know, just kind of upheaval from the sandy soil below, or if it's, you know, ancient burn piles from the last time this place was clear cut. I don't know. But there are these little, I used to call them zits, which if I look on my place, there's one right there. There's a little rise up. But yeah, he uses those as the high spots to put out his hay. And since the cows congregate around the hay, since that's all they have to eat, it makes a very nice concentration of cow manure and decomposed hay, which is, in my opinion, can't be beat for garden soil. Well, maybe it can be beat, but for me, it beats any garden soil that I have at my disposal. Anyway, just wanted to kind of shoot this and show you guys. It's a shame. It's what I deal with. Okay, so here's the property line. There's my house, and here's his mess. Again, I'm not going to complain. It sounds like I'm complaining. Okay, fine, maybe I'm complaining, but I have zero control over this, and I know and I understand that. I really don't care. Surprisingly, the place doesn't, it really doesn't smell all that bad. This, for sure, I grew up around, you know, like hog confinements and chicken barns. This has nothing on those buildings. You know, occasionally we smell cow manure, and we have more flies than normal maybe, but this is nothing on that. I don't really mind this. It looks bad. You know, I feel bad when I see it, but I would take this any day over living next to a big animal confinement, you know, a barn where they're really, really concentrated. Anyway, just wanted to show that, like I said, just to kind of explain why I'm looking at pigs and not cattle, because this is not cattle country, and it is every bit pig country. So here's my neighbor's pigs. These are wild pigs that he's trapped, or somebody else has trapped and brought to him, and he's fattening them up on corn. So he's at least got them caged, just so they don't get out again. Obviously, having a wild pig in your possession is a big responsibility. He's had this one up here well over a year, I know. I'm not sure why he hasn't butchered her yet, but she's pretty docile at this point. She's used to it. But he keeps her up here off the ground, and he's got obviously a water hose run back here so that he can water her and so he can wash out that pen. He just washed it out today, so it's relatively clean. And then he's got the rest of this corral.
What?
There's another one back in there somewhere. There's a little boar. I don't know if you guys can see him. See him standing back in the back or not. Oh, there he's moving around a little bit maybe. He's calmed down too. Last time we were over here, he was racing back and forth, and he kept ramming this fence, trying to scare you away. So thankfully, was a good strong fence. It looks pretty rotten. And I guess he throws the trash and the feed sacks down just to raise elevation. I don't really know. Not quite my style, but it works for him.